That's not what I said. What I said was, that's not how you sounded. You sounded belligerent talking about the president. You're a representative representing the state of Texas in your district in Texas. They didn't send you there for that. They sent you there to find a way to get what you can for us while he's in office, while assisting him getting out of office so you could get somebody in there who's more favorable to my district. Same thing with AOC. Same thing with Eric Swalwell in California. Same thing with any elected official.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Warriors, I have a question. Stephen A. Smith, is he proof that some men today are too weak and some women are too in control? That's what I'll be talking about today on Chat with me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications. Stick around to the very end. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's get into it. All right, Warriors, Stephen A. Smith. Now, you know, if you've been around on YouTube or any type of social media, you already know Stephen A. Smith has been going off on Congresswoman out of Texas, Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat, of course, for her ratchet behavior, for cussing out the president and doing everything that she can to seemingly go up against him. Seemingly with the Democrats, it's more about going up against President Trump rather than trying to work with him that will benefit their actual constituents who voted them into office. That is a reasonable thing to say for Stephen A. Smith. That is very reasonable. What he said, in my opinion, was not wrong. It is constructive criticism. But are Black women above critique? Seems to me that sometimes we are. People didn't want to hear anything bad about Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, Jasmine Crockett, or even Tiffany A. Henyard, defamed mayor of whatever that town is south of Chicago. Okay, can't remember the name of it right now. But yes, it seems like we are above critique sometimes. And don't adjust your eyes. I am a Black woman. Yes, that is true. It seems like it is. It seems like the sisterhood comes out. The Black folks that are liberal come out. How dare you put your mouth on a Black woman? Stephen A. Smith, you should have stood 10 toes down. Because if I believe I'm right, I'm not taking it back. Only when I believe I'm wrong. So evidently, maybe he believes he was wrong. But I don't think you were. And I think you got some talking to, and you ran back to that Democrat plantation with your tail between your legs. And you need to stand firm, Stephen A., because I agree with you on a lot of what you say, but you also talk out of both sides of your mouth. So I'm going to let you guys listen to some clips, and I'm going to interject here and there. And I want you to pay attention to this clip that's coming up. Look at the men's faces as they listen to Stephen A.
They said I was insulting Jasmine Crockett. Why you got to call out the sister? Because the sister's the one sounding like that. I know she's intelligent. I know she's accomplished. I know she's smart. That's not what I said. What I said was, that's not how you sounded. You sounded belligerent talking about the president. You're a representative representing the state of Texas in your district in Texas. They didn't send you there for that. They sent you there to find a way to get what you can for us while he's in office, while assisting him getting out of office so you could get somebody in there who's more favorable to my district. Same thing with AOC. Same thing with Eric Swalwell in California. Same thing with any elected official. Your job is not to go there and say, derail the president. I could do that. You're a representative. You're an elected official. You're on Capitol Hill. What are you doing? You're supposed to be working. You cannot be working if all you're saying is, I don't care what he comes up with. I'm not agreeing to it. You can't, listen, you can't figure out what, listen, he's the president. I don't like it. But damn, he gonna be here till 2028. I got 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 constituents to deal with. Let me see what I can get.
Let me just pause for a moment. I want you guys to check out one of the men here. I just want you to look at this man's face. Okay. Look at this man's face right here. This is a podcast called Pivot. Okay, Pivot podcast. This man's face right here is like, what are you saying, Stephen A? You know we can't talk like that. You guys are all men. Why can't you talk like that? Why are you guys afraid to stand up to these loud mouth, ratchet orangutan women? Stand up and be men if you can. Did you give away your man card? Did you give it up? See, we need real men in society. We need to bring back the old way of doing things. We need godly men, okay, godly men that say what they say, they mean what they say, and they say what they mean. You're not going to emasculate them. Y'all need to get certain parts of your body back. You've given away your alls. I said alls. You know what I mean when I say that. Okay. Get them back. All right. You need to stop behaving like you are afraid of the collective of the sisterhood. You are a man. That's your show. You stand 10 toes down and you don't apologize because what he said was actually true. I looked up Jasmine Crockett and the policies that she got in place for Texas in her district. She stood for, well, I'm going to go over that later, but everything that she stood for, none of it, I mean, absolutely none of it benefits her constituents who elected her. And her behavior is subpar. And I'm being nice. She was straight out ghetto, ratchet, just ghetto, just really like just beneath the role of a congresswoman. She wasn't always talking like that, but I wanted you to point you to the facial expressions because a lot of men have been pistol whipped by this radical feminism, and y'all need to get your man card back. We need some old school men like James Evans on that TV show from the 70s, Good Times. He played the father. He was like, boy, what you mean why he's undoing his belt, about to whip your tail so hard that you couldn't sit down for a couple of days. Okay, we need that, man. Boy, what you going to dress like that? Lipstick, earrings. We don't wear no earrings. My husband told someone in the family, we don't do earrings. Okay, we don't do earrings. You're talking about earrings. You are a boy. You do not put on earrings because my husband is not having that. We need that. So Stephen A. Smith really just said, you're not getting anything done for your constituents and your behavior. You got to do more than cuss out the president and be disagreeable, calling him a POS, sugar honey iced tea, saying F-bombs, behaving in such a manner. You got to get work done. He can do that. That's what he just said in that clip I just showed you. That's really all he said. And then black folks, the blackity blacks, the liberals, I call the liberals the blackity blacks. Hopefully y'all don't mind that. But they come forth on this podcast called Native Land. Okay, it's got Tiffany Cross, who was talking about getting Stephen A. canceled, saying we women, we form a coalition. We need to get him canceled off the air. Black men need to begin together saying, you can't say that, we canceling you, we boycotting you. It has Angela Rye and Andrew Gilliam. Andrew Gilliam was the one that ran for Florida governor, but he got caught up in a scandal. And anyway, he almost won. He came awfully close. But thankfully, I think the right person got the job in Governor Ron DeSantis. But yeah, liberal women, I'm just going to say liberal women, tend to want to shut people down and emasculate men. But that is not what we need. The Bible says the man is to be head of the house, head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. This is scripture. Now, I know a lot of women out here, this feminism, this radical feminism, you don't want to be told what to do. I'm a woman, hear me roar, burn your bra, do whatever it is, but that is unbiblical. There is beauty in submission, in the right kind of submission. Does not mean you cannot have an opinion of your own, but you get together and talk about it prayerfully, and then your husband makes the final executive decision. Real manhood does not mean that the man is going to be disrespectful or abusive in any sort of way. That is not true manhood. That is the man that is walking outside of true manhood if he feels he has to be abusive. He's insecure in who he is. The pure men know that real manhood is godliness, taking care of your responsibilities, standing on godly principles, mean what you say and say what you mean and don't take it back. That's a real man. Where are the real men? Shout out in the comment section. Real men stand up. Is Stephen A. an example of the fact that in some instances, men are too weak and women are too much in control? Men, where are you? Stand up and be heard and stop letting women do this to you. Y'all need to get y'all's alls back. Get them back, keep them. Don't give them away. Y'all like, Linda B, you tripping. But I want to show you this apology. Okay, most of the apology anyway. And you tell me what you think about it.
I wanted to take a moment because I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted. But at the end of the day, I have to own it. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that. I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to that to my sister because, damn it, I want her to know I don't feel that way about her. Just like I didn't feel that way about Kamala Harris. Just like I don't feel that way about the marvelous, the wonderful, the incomparable, the greatest first lady ever, and Michelle Obama, in my estimation.
Okay, now that he's finished with this praise parade, making sure that you all know that he is a liberal. Don't forget, I still vote blue no matter who on the Demon Rat Plantation. The fact of the matter is, Stephen A. Smith, it is not about, President Trump. President Trump does use language sometimes I wish he would not use. But is he effective, though? See, you can get away with stuff when you talk a little trash here and there, maybe even a lot of trash, but you listen to the voters and you do what they elected you to do and what you promised to do. There's the difference between him and Jasmine Crockett. He's working his A squared off, and you know what I mean. She is doing a lot of talking and no walking. Okay, looking at the bills that she got passed, none of them, they can't be what those voters want. I mean, they can't be. Simply put, she is not doing what she got elected to do. President Trump, on the other hand, is. So that's the difference. Now you got to think about that. You'll let somebody get away with a flaw here and there if they're doing the things to help you. And you see how hard he is working. You see that. And the pushback and all these demon rats going up against ICE and all of that. And President Trump, he'll say something about somebody and he won't apologize. Oh, you may think whatever you want to call him, orange man bad, whatever you want to call him, he's our president. He should be respected. And he is working on behalf of the American people, taking a lot of heat. And he's no spring chicken. Okay. And he stands 10 toes down. He won't take it back. He's an old school man. He's like, look, he's an alpha man. I said what I said. What's the next question? That's President Trump, not like this.
Or anybody else. But what we're going to do on this show is understand who the hell I am and how it's going to be as long as I'm doing this show. I have no problem apologizing if I'm wrong. I have no problem apologizing if I've made somebody feel a certain kind of way. But I'm going to challenge the legitimacy of what people come at me with when I think that challenge is warranted and deserved. If you came to me and you said to me that it came across as a bit dismissive, Stephen, you should have been more protective of her than that because look at how he speaks. Look at how they act on Capitol Hill towards her. I understand that. But when somebody tries to take that to accuse me of being disrespectful or in any way misogynistic, I'm going to push back on that because that's emphatically false. There's no truth to that whatsoever, and I'm not accepting that, and I'm not owning that. I can sit up there and I can look at Representative Jasmine Crockett. Do you know what I think she should be doing? I think she should be competing for the Senate seat in Texas or for the Attorney General spot because she's qualified. I personally think Kamala Harris should have ran for governor of California. I've said it for the record that if Michelle Obama was running for president, she would have beat Trump, in my opinion. I think she'd have done it. That's how I feel. But somehow, some way, it's never enough for some people out there. I understand. I would advise you to get over it or buckle up, because I'm not going away. This is my show. I will say what I feel and I will do what I want. It doesn't mean I'm going to be insensitive. It doesn't mean that I don't care about our community. A matter of fact, most of the trouble I get in is because I care about our community. And the reason I'm bringing this up and the reason that I'm willing to attack this subject, because this really ain't about Jasmine Crockett. I respect her. I wish her nothing but the best. I was simply asking a question. That's all. What's working for you? Because I don't want her to lose the prowess that she has. I want it to continue to gain and elevate. We need resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America.
Okay, now you saw that half-baked apology, and what you really want to see are the comments below the video. Yeah, so you see he has to over-apologize and overcompensate, saying all these great things about people like Kamala Harris. Come on, seriously. Governor Jasmine Crockett, Attorney General, Senate. Are you serious? Really? Before we get into the comments under the video, I want to just reaffirm what I said about the policies that Jasmine Crockett was behind for her constituents. Okay, I looked up and asked the question, has Jasmine Crockett passed any bills for the Texas district she represents? It comes up with, yes, Jasmine Crockett has passed several bills at the federal level. Now, my issue with Jasmine Crockett is that not that she doesn't just get bills passed. I'm talking about bills that are helpful to her constituents, not just bills, and definitely not bills that are harmful. My issue is bills and legislation that is hurtful to her constituents, while putting it in political language that is a cover for what she is actually doing and who the people are, who she works for in the background. So it says she pushed for bills to reform policing, i.e., defund the police, let fewer police be on the streets, expand voting options, i.e., let illegals vote, loosen drug laws, i.e., let drugs run rampant in your neighborhoods. Okay, see how they put this? She pushed bills to reform policing, less police, expand voting options. That means illegals can vote, loosen drug laws. Drug laws don't need to be loosened. So this is what she's fighting for. Okay, none of this is helpful to her constituents. All right, so you saw that, right? None of that is helpful to her constituents. None of those laws. And I wanted to break it down because it is very important to know the difference, because Democrats like to use this coded language like extend voting rights. Yeah, that means you want illegals. Just remember, that's how they roll. So let's look at some of these comments now. And here we are, no backbone. Darn, they got you. It's my show. I'll say what I want until they tell you not to. This guy is so darn weak. I have zero respect for this guy. Malcolm X said it best. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Yes, pathetic. Black conservative perspective. Now, guys, he didn't fold. He just neatly placed himself in a drawer. No one contradicts themselves in media more than Stephen A. Smith. Wow. Nobody contradicts themselves more than Stephen A. Stephen A., you're going to have to stand. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Stand 10 toes down. I say it what I said. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. You're going to have to get backbone, man. Bruh. The men out there, the real men. I want you to comment in the comment section of this video. Real men, stand up. Where are you? Okay, are you going to let women like really steamroll over you and tell you can't say, and you got to do what we say, and the woke mob too, that consists of weak men, soy boy men, and masculine women. That's what the radical left pushes. So the real men, you're going to let them do that to you. That's why a lot of black men saw through the Democrat Party and said, I'm going to vote this way. And it got some black women, upset. Why do you think all these churches have all this out of the ordinary lifestyle stuff being promoted? Because women are put up with that stuff, but real men won't. The weak men will, but the real men, alpha males, won't put up with it. Where are the real men? We need you desperately. Okay. The left calls true masculinity toxic. It's not toxic, it's needed, it's healthy. I'm not saying be aggressive by no stretch of the imagination. What I am saying is, men, we need you as men over the homes. Stop making babies everywhere and take care of your children. Okay, marry the woman, take care of your children, stay together, build something together. Okay, build. Stop spreading your oats everywhere. There is something inherently in most women that we don't want to submit. That's just, I think, a Western world problem. America, the UK, Canada, women from Africa, Asia, and other parts of the world seemingly are more submissive. And even when we do submit, I don't think we always want to. So I'm just being honest. You know, I just like to keep it real on this channel. Something in a lot of women does not, just don't want to submit. But men, take your place and be men. Men, where are you? We need you. Society needs you. It's not enough to say everybody needs to grow up with their father. They don't need just a man in the house. They need the right kind of man, a real man in the house. Okay, because sometimes they so weak as they might as well not even be there. But that's what I have to say. Is Stephen A. Smith an example of women, some women being too much in control and men being too weak? Tell me what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications. Be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.